And then so you left UND and then you did your CFI stuff. So what did you do after that?
So then I went to a company that does, through a former flight instructor that we had, was the chief pilot at a company out of Safford, Arizona. And what they do is called Air Attack. And they're pretty much the forward air traffic control that controls the FTA, which is the fire traffic area for the tankers and the helicopters and everything. And so we always in a turbine commander.
Right, yeah.
And you're 1,500 feet above the action, and in the right seat is a qualified ground firefighter.
Oh, really?
And so he's calling all the shots from the air, and you're flying him around.
Oh, wow.
So I got into the fire industry that way.
Is he a pilot?
No.
You just go ahead.
Go ahead and finish your question.
That's all I had. Is he a pilot?
No. Some of them have like their private that
Oh,
they
okay.
got in like 1965. That they.
It made him want to jump and be like, "Oh, I'll take that job." So that was local here in Arizona?
Well, the company was based out of Safford, but it was the same thing as what I do now. We've chased the fires all over the United States.
And how many hours did it take before you could apply for something like that?
So you needed 135 men, so it was like 1,500, and then they wanted a certain amount of multi, and they wanted some mountainous flying too because they're in it a lot. But you get that in Arizona, especially going up north. You can log that stuff. But like 135 minimums.
Okay.
Pretty much, because that's what they operate under is 135.
Oh, okay.
How'd that first gig pay?
In the beginning, it was okay. It was better than flight instructing.
Okay, fair enough.
And then after that, we got a new owner, and it was real good.
Yeah, excellent. Usually the new owner thing comes with the sob story.
So this stuff. Oh, the
new
initial
owner.
one. So the initial company you went with, it was private. All that stuff was owned by.
It was owned by just a different person. They sold it to someone else who bought it, and then that guy was like, "Hey, these guys are making us money." And the chief pilot at the time was like, "Yeah, we need to pay these guys more money if you want them to stick around."
Yeah.
And that's when the airlines were booming.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Hey, if you want these guys to stick around, they need more money." And so you made good money, but you were gone a lot. Like half the year, almost straight, almost like a deployment.
Dang.
Chasing the fires.
Yeah, so you would get, you'd be at just kind of what I do now, but you could start in Arizona and end up in Montana. You don't know where it's going to be. So it was fun though. Great segue to get into what I do now.
Oh, so did you just apply for that, or you knew somebody and they brought you in?
I had the 1,500 hours, and that's kind of where I was like, all right, I have 1,500 hours, and I had a ton of multi-time because I did all MEI and MEI checkouts and stuff. So I had all the multi-time and instrument time. I mean, at that time, I think I had ATP minimums, and so I was like, I need to make a decision what I want to do. And so I knew a guy that worked there. You guys both know him, the guy that you did your instrument flight with that we were talking about.
Big guy.
The big guy?
He was the chief pilot there. So, I shot him an email, and he's like, well.
So how was that? How was that having him as a chief pilot?
He was good, to be honest.
I believe it.
He's a hell of a pilot.
Yeah.
So.
And as a manager, I mean, honestly, he was spot on.
Yeah, man.
So it was cool. Yeah, I shot him an email, and he's like, well, we'll see. And there was kickback about my age.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's another thing. How old are you? Do you mind? Yeah, you probably.
I just turned 33.
Oh, I'm 34. Yeah.
But that was 10 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Or 8 or whatever, So I was in my mid-20s.
Yeah.
And I looked like a little kid, I was like 30 pounds less than this. And
well, at least unlike Sea Dog, you don't anymore.
Cool, man. Cool. So if I'm curious, I know you probably explained this. So they're the one that the company you're working for. They're the one that kind of almost like a dispatcher when it comes to how they trying to figure out where the fire is going to be at and figuring out.
The government does all that.
Oh,
so
we're
government contracted.
Okay.
That was going to be one of my next questions.
Got you.
Who pays you guys?
Yep, the government. Your money, my money, taxpayer.
Fair enough, man. Save our crap.
Yeah.
And they call all the shots, and so they have it's broken down to different geographical locations called GACs, and there's a Southwest and Montana, North, all this stuff, different regions, and then it goes up to the top, and then they're the ones that have the big chessboard, and depending on resources and need, they kind of move all the chess pieces around. So we put our bag in the plane every day because we could be flying a fire over here, on up north in Arizona, and we just do our drop when they're saying, hey, go reload in Montana, you're up there, so you never know where you're going to be.
Yeah. So let's okay, interesting. So like the company you work for now, like what is the current one you're with now?
Erickson Aero Tanker.
Erickson Aero Tanker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where are they based out of?
Madras, Oregon.
Okay.
Yeah. And then they have a sister company that kind of picked them up along the way called Aero Air, and they do all sorts of stuff. They do charter, they do air med, they do organ transport and all that stuff.
Wow.
And that headquarters is in Hillsboro, right outside of Portland. Madras is like Central Oregon by Redmond or Bend.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. So what was the interview process like for that kind of system?
So the interview process, we always make fun of this stuff in the tanker industry. It's pretty much having a beer with someone that works there.
Oh, dude, I'll fit in awesome.
It's not like a formal interview. It's internal recommendations only.
It has to be that kind of system, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and then maybe like I got a phone call from the director of, first the chief pilot called me, and we talked on the phone. It was in the middle of fire season, so I was busy. We talked on the phone for a good hour, and then the director of operations, once I got the go ahead from the chief pilot, gave me a phone call, and they kind of talked to some of the references that I listed on my resume, and they said, well, we'll give you a call in a couple months, and 3 months later I had an offer letter.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, so it's real small. I mean, the references that I got were people that were in the tanker industry before,
right,
and that knew these guys, and so it was all just, it's very word of mouth, in-house kind of deal.
Okay.
But the air attack position is a great way to do it, because they knew that I knew the industry, I knew fire to a certain extent. I knew what being on the road was like. I knew what being on tanker bases was like. So they look at that kind of stuff a lot too. So that's why the interview process probably was a little bit shorter than if you were just coming off the street like, hey, I want to fly tankers.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So you got the letter. Was it immediately you went to training, or
no? I still had. So I think I got the letter in December, and then in February is when we went to sim. So I had some time off.
Oh, okay.
A couple months.
Okay. How was the training? And what aircraft were you flying, by the way?
So it's the DC-9 MD-87.
Okay. Where'd you go for training?
Our first initial training, we went to Pan Am in Miami.
Oh, shit. Really?
Yeah.
It's just an old school sim.
Yeah, they have there's a 7.6 out there that's like old school and shit. And that's like the vintage Pan Am shit, dude. Like the old school real shit.
They have those in like random places. So I was over at Loft Aviation in Carlsbad, California, and they do all citation training.
Yeah.
But they have one sim there. It's old as crap, and it's for a what's a tri-tail, or not? It's a tri. It's not the DC-10 or an
Probably
MD-11.
727.
No. It's like the DC-10, but it's a different model.
MD-11.
No. L1011.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
that's old.
Yeah, so they have a
That's
sim
like
for
L10.
that, and they're like, they told me what company owned it, and they're like, yeah, they come in here once a year.
It's the guys that drop the rockets out of Mojave.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
There's a big ass rocket strapped to the bottom of it, and
For what
so
reason?
it has to be those guys. They fucking shoot it to space, man.
It might be, actually. It was something along those lines, like that kind
There's a
of
documentary
weirdness.
on it.
You
can
see how
watch
oblivious I am to these things? It's like all this crap that goes on. You're like, the fuck?
Yeah, we take care of their sim. They come in once a year. We don't touch it. They use it. And I'm like, I would kill to see inside that bad boy.
It's really hard to find MD sims anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, American got rid of all those. Yeah. Nobody flies them anymore.
So we use Deltas now.
Oh, really?
In Atlanta. And they were super happy to have us because...
Nobody uses it. Nobody really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that place is great. State of the art.
Because Delta got rid of all their... they're done with all that now, right? All they fly is the Airbus and the...
They have the 717, which is the same type rating
Oh,
as
that's
the
right.
DC-9.
Yeah.
Is that 4 engines?
No, it looks like an MD-87, but it's just kind of upgraded with some different engines and upgraded avionics.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's not tri, right?
No.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
But it's the same type as a DC-9.
Mm-hmm.
So DC-9
Okay.
covers like 6 different airplanes.
Gotcha.